Today's guest is Molly Simpson. You can find her on Instagram as the Witchorcist, and she's going to tell us a bit about herself and her backstory.
So I am an exorcist. Once upon a time, I sold my soul to a demon called Belphegor, and I got a modelling contract out of it. From that moment then, I mean, I've always been very psychic, always been into witchcraft, but from that moment, I couldn't hear any light spirits. I could only hear the darkness, the darker realms and the demons. And while I was a model for 5 years, I had to join basically a satanic secret society that was part of that deal. I didn't know it was part of the deal before I entered into the contract with the demonic. But it was, and when I say it's there in plain sight, it really is. You know, there's people there, obviously I won't name names, that are all very well known from the TV, from politicians, and they're all part of these groups. And when the rituals that go on, they include blood magic, sacrifice, human sacrifice, cannibalism, all kinds of horrific ritual magic. But when I decided I'd had enough, and you know, a couple of my friends went missing, and I knew they'd been offed or trafficked or some kind of thing, very, very similar to what's gone on lately with that lady in Dubai.
Yeah.
She was obviously part of a very, very similar group. But when I decided I wanted out, I nearly lost my life. I was getting followed, I was stalked, and then my body got ill through no reason at all. I was in Western Hospital for 2 months. I had no white blood cells, I had no red blood cells, no ferritin, no iron. They couldn't even understand why I was alive. I should have been dead. They were giving me blood transfusions. They'd last 24 hours. Within 24 hours, my blood levels would be back to basically zero. And I was back and forth from Western to the Royal. I had sepsis, I had this, I had that. But even then, they could never get to the bottom of it. And it wasn't until one of the nurses came to me in one of the clinics and said, look, we can't help you here. You need to find a natural healer, because there's something going on that's nothing to do with the medical sort of industry that we can fix. So it did. And I ended up coming into contact with a natural healer from Crewe who could see the demonic that I had with me. And the first time I walked into his clinic, it obviously explains what had gone on. And he says, oh, you've brought a friend? And it was the first time someone has actually looked at me and gone, wow, yeah, I know what she's done because I can see it. And while he couldn't actually take the demonic away from me, he did actually manage to heal my body enough for me to start looking for someone to help me. I went through thousands of practitioners here in the UK. I travelled to London, Newcastle, Scotland, I went to Ireland. There were all these people that said, yeah, I can perform an exorcism, yeah, I can remove it. I was very open about what I'd done. And there wasn't one person that could help me. That was until Jesus came to me in a vision. And he basically said, they're not done with you. I will always be attacked. But from this moment forward, I was back on a path of light. I do believe that when I got ill, my soul had been removed, and that's why my physical human body began to die. And obviously, if it wasn't for this natural healer that knew what needed to be done to help me blood, obviously it'd be dead. But Jesus basically said, look, this is going to be your purpose now. You're going to help other people come from a dark path back onto a path of light. And I've sort of been doing this ever since. I basically got taken back to the hell realm by a demonic, by Belphegor. And I had an out-of-body experience where I was in hell. And Jesus came and he appeared to me in a river of blood. He rose from the blood. And he said to me, if you don't face this, you will die. And I had to face this demonic in this out-of-body experience. And as I faced it, it began to disintegrate and disappear. And from that moment, I've never heard them again. And that is when the contract was null and void at that point.
So cancel the contract,
basically
where the demon had a hold over you.
Yeah.
It kind of like freed
it was
you
fully in possession of me.
Yeah, I can understand. So nobody in England was able to
a lot of people said that they could. A lot of people took a hell of a lot of money off me to do it.
Wow.
But nothing ever changed.
Nothing ever changed, and you just felt possessed from within. So what you mentioned, I was actually gone on the phone, because I've got a list of all the demonic entities, which when you have the knowledge of something, you know exactly what to type to look it up, because everything's on the web, but not the words. So, you know, not the words itself, how to form the magic, but images and all that you can get. So what I done there, just for the audience sake, you know, there's a book called The Lesser Key of Solomon, which was found from under Solomon's temple. There was 9 books, I believe, that came into England and Scotland from the 12th century when the Templars left. Those books were decoded, studied, and this is how magic came about into the world again. So within this book, because I know what it is and I know exactly how it works, when you type the name and you say, give the list of demons, it'll come up. And you can see all their pictures. Some of them they're scary looking beings, 2 heads, 3 heads, and they all got their names and their rank and how powerful they are with massive legions underneath them. So if you know what you're looking for, you know what you know. So when I'm having a discussion with yourself, for example, Molly, I knew straight away, and then you can see by studying the demon how powerful he is and what sort of element you need to summon him and whatever, you know. But I don't practice any magic because I know the dangers off of it and the ramifications, like implications that you get by delving into it. It's very dangerous stuff.
Absolutely. And what I found as well is when I was preparing to create that ritual, to do that bargaining with that demonic, is there is no information out there that will give you an accurate ritual, step-by-step guide. It took me 3 goes. First 2 times, nothing worked, nothing changed. But the 3rd time, something took over my body. And I'd done a pentagram, an inverted one.
Yeah.
And it made me draw an extra circle around it and mark out boxes on each point of what would be Baphomet's head, or, you know, the demonic's head. And these symbols started being written by me, and I was not in control of my body. I didn't know what any of the symbols meant. And even now I can't find what half of these symbols mean as well.
So
but I was not in control.
You had the demonic entity come inside you and doing all the work himself now.
Basically.
Because it's
The first 2 times I'd done it, I'd clearly not done it properly, but I think because the intention was there and I'd done the pentagram and activated it, it was able to come through and then take over possession and help me finish the full bargain.
So I'd like to just say something in regards to an experience now that I know that people who don't practice magic and someone who does and who's had an experience of being taken over, for example. So I've done case studies, read about a lot of things, right? Best example I know that I can give, and I don't know whether you could confirm it from your experience. When we drink alcohol is like a potion.
It's named after the
more
demon alcohol.
Yeah, so when you drink this, it forces your spirit, because you know the way the human body works, the way I understand the true Trinity is actually the mind, the physical body, and the spirit. So this is unique to every human being. We all possess this. So when a baby's being formed in the womb, after 3 months, the spark of the life force comes inside the heart, which gives it the beat.
Yeah.
In 3, that's why it's your heart. Everyone's heart beats 3. 2 beats, then a third. 2 beats, and a third. So this is like the Trinity coming together with the heart, mind, body, and spirit. But when the individual is physically taking delivery into, like when you're born into the world, earth realm, you take your first breath, you open your eyes. That's when the soul is infused, where the 5 senses come alive, because you're inside actually the womb, so it's all dark. But when you take your first breath, your eyes open, the soul is infused, which actually records the experience of the individual from the moment they take their first breath until they take their last breath. All the pain you experience and all the joy you experience is recorded there, because when the body separates from the spirit, what goes with the spirit? The soul. The soul is unique because the soul goes with you now, separated from the flesh, mind, and the heart. That gets disintegrated, but the spirit and the soul go together now. So that's where that comes. But all of this, what I've mentioned, has a unique element. Every human being's heart has an element, the soul has an element, the spirit has an element, the physical body has an element, so does the inner. So, you know, anyone who studies, someone like yourself will understand, you've got solar, outside, moon, inside, you know, spirit, wind, water, earth, fire, everyone's spirit has a different element, same as the soul. Scientific studies required to actually understand this in great depth from the beginning of time to the end. You've got all the different calendars which are unique to all the different religions, which actually have brought this knowledge into the earth for the sake of humanity to level up. But the thing is, people are just lost in ignorance. They don't want to know anything that they cannot see, but someone like yourself is inspired. You know that there's stuff beyond what the eyes can see. Do you know what I mean? So,
Absolutely.
so that's what gives you your inspiration. But in the essence of what I was saying in regards to the experience of drinking alcohol, where your spirit is forced out because of this potion, where the demonic spirit can come inside and hijack the body.
Yeah.
But when the potion's effect works off, your spirit comes back to protect your physical body, because that's its purpose, to guide you. And when you drink this, it takes the spirit out. So it's hovering, basically, when it goes into sleep mode and connected to the silver lining. So you're still breathing and you're still attached to the physical body, so you're still alive. So when a demonic entity has been summoned through the dark art to possess somebody, or somebody was not strong enough to, that's the danger. When you summon a demon, if you don't like you or you're not strong enough, he'll possess and take over. You'll be able to relate. Is that experience the same as when you're drunk, consumed? Because the more you drink, the more you're forcing the spirit out. Well, it loses its connection with you.
If we look at the auric field of someone who's had an alcoholic drink, now certain types of alcohol are worse than others. Gin is the worst, compared to the likes of vodka or brandy or other types of quite strong
spirit. Because different potions.
Don't you say gin's one of the best ones to drink though, don't you? Because you won't get hangovers.
I've always had a hangover when I've had a gin.
I've heard people say that gin makes you cry as well.
They do, but then I'd look at my mum and my mum would say that about brandy. I think it's one of them, depending on your genetic and human makeup.
Yeah.
You're going to react to different drinks differently. You know what I mean? But if we say we look at the auric field tells us everything about what's going on with that person in spirit and in physicalness, in the physical body. When someone has, say, one gin, it's not going to affect that auric field. You won't be able to see anything. But when they move up and they get higher concentrations of that, we begin to see openings in the auric field, which is where these things can easily come in, because our protective barrier, which is what the auric field is, allows them in. But what happens is, because we are willingly taking, let's call it a potion, we're willingly taking this potion, and the spirit does get disconnected, it hangs there. Depending on what demonic comes in, depends on whether that spirit's going to be able to fit back in that body. If you get a real high-ranking demonic, you're under possession and you've got an attachment, and you will continue to have an attachment until you clear it, and the spirit will be blocked from coming back in.
Yeah.
If you do it willingly, again, you've set the intentions at everything when it comes to this stuff. The spirit won't come back in because you've actively blocked it. You've made the intention that you don't want it there. You want this demonic with you.
Yeah, you're right. Intention is the most powerful, it's a very powerful force, because you need all of these within absolute power of will, they call it.
Oh, yeah.
Without the absolute power of will and force that you wholeheartedly put out, you cannot activate, even in magic. And,
well, this is it. And a lot of people who are, disconnected from spirit, whatever they believe, whether it's religion, whatever, they don't understand the amount of power that they actually have inside them. And until you understand that power and that straight, clear connection that we all have to the divine, you won't have any power over anything else, never mind yourself.
Did it take you a while, to recognise the gift that you've got? Because when you come in here before, you said that you're seeing someone.
So when I was growing up, I had a really bad childhood. Like, I suffered horrific abuse. I was drugged. I was locked in rooms for days on end, wasn't fed properly and stuff like that. And I had this thing that would come and speak to me. And it would only turn up really when I was in distress, and it calmed me down. It was like an older woman's voice. It's not actually my guides now for some reason. So I've always had this sort of, my mum thought I was schizophrenic. I was under a child psychologist and stuff like that, because I'd constantly be talking to this thing. But even my mum was into witchcraft. My mum was into black magic. So we had a dog that got run over, and it broke its back, and it was really bad, and it was going to die. And my mum had begged the vet to do an operation on it. And the vet said, look, we don't think it's going to pull through. It's like a 2% chance because it mangles the spine. And my mum gets me out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. She was a drug addict, my mum, like, and a drinker. Gets me out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning when I was 6. And she'd done a pentagram in the living room. And she had a mouse in a mop bucket. Well, underneath the mop bucket. And she said, we're going to do a magic spell. I need you to help me. And we had to walk around the pentagram anti-clockwise a certain amount of times. And then at some point, she gets the mouse out the mop bucket, smacks it on the head with a hammer, and transfers the mouse's soul into the dog. So the dog gets the mouse's healed life force energy. The dog survived.
He survived.
The dog survived and lived for another, I think it was 7 years.
And did he, what about the back? Did it manage to heal that?
Yeah,
or
completely.
He did?
Absolutely normal. You'd never think there was
No
nothing wrong
way.
with that dog. They were gobsmacked, absolutely gobsmacked. That was my first introduction to magic. So even from a young age, I knew that it worked.
You knew
and I knew that it was
something,
real.
Yeah. Not everyone does, but, you know, at the end of the day, I think, you know, it all comes down to knowledge. Who's got the hunger, the pursuit to pursue it. For me, it was, well, seeking God and the metaphysics and the truth about a lot of things. And, you know, it took me on a journey, and the more I got deeper and deeper, the more truth I got. And the more I was just thinking, wow. But the thing is, people call you crazy when you try to share the knowledge with the sleeping world outside and they're ignorant.
You get a lot of flack, you get a lot of abuse.
Yeah, they call you crazy, they call you all sorts of things under the sun, but it's upsetting because, you know, you're not out there to hurt nobody, you're trying to guide people for this.
It scares a lot of people. And the idea that actually, it comes down to the sort of biblical philosophy of judgment day. I think that a lot of people think if I start believing in other things out there, that means there is going to be a judgment day and I'm going to be judged for my actions. And I think they'd rather bury the heads in the sand.
You're a smart lady, man. Molly, you're smart because you're hitting the nail on the head, man. It's like, it is linked to Judgment Day because all the knowledge, it's like Jesus said, innit? Jesus said that, he said to his people, like, you're not ready for what I've got to share with you right now.
No.
But he said that the Spirit of truth is going to come shortly after me. He's going to give you more information, but then at the end of time, I'm going to come back.
Yeah.
And that's when you people, I'm going to try to share the information. But the truth is, even at the end of time, which I believe we are in now,
I think it'll be too late by that time for anyone to wake up.
That's the sad thing. You know, it's the saddest thing. I recognize that in today's age, that we've got all the knowledge from the beginning of time to the end. It's all on earth. Everything's there. But the world has become so ignorant and lost that they don't want to take true knowledge on board. They don't even want to, you know, they just start mocking people rather than looking into it.
But it's not entirely their fault.
You're right. Again, nail on the head, bang on. I always say it's not their fault. I actually feel empathy for them. I feel sorry for them that it's not their fault because they've been conditioned by the state, by the establishment, and we have, my parents have, we all have. But the thing is, if I could and you can independently go and discover this. Now, you know, I was listening to you, you know, been through a, you know, hard life, hard childhood. Guys who know me here, they know similar. I've been through very similar. But I suppose if you haven't been through the battering of life and the betrayals of people and the Judases of this world, you know, does that mean that you're going to be lost and, you know, become an ignorant soul like the majority of the world? But does that mean that you have to go through suffering in order to level up?
I disagree. I think actually suffering makes it harder.
Makes it harder, I suppose, but I suppose it's helped me and you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't change anything. But I know it's easier to find hope. It's easier to find faith when you haven't experienced a lot of bad stuff, because if you've not gone through that experience, you're not going to think about that in the first thought. Whereas people who've been through it, they're going to automatically think dark, bad, problems.
Yeah, harder to sort of get through life because you've been through so much. I know exactly what you mean. I know straight away what you mean.
But I think there's a bit of an initiation with humanity as well. I can't remember what part of the Bible it's in. It's in the Quran as well.
Wow.
In a different way.
Have you read the Quran?
I've read about 3/4 of the Quran. I was a Muslim for a while.
Wow, okay.
I'll explain about that in a minute.
Just don't kick him off just yet. that, you know what I mean? But,
I'm just impressed. I'm shocked.
No,
You're
I
definitely
think
a
I
learned
think
person.
there is part in the Bible that says, "Seek and you shall find." It's not there for you to just openly have this knowledge. You have to
Bang
go on a
on,
journey to find it, to
Nail on
understand
the
it.
head again. Yeah, it's those that are chosen.
was you Muslim before Christian and then went back, or?
So I was brought up very Catholic,
Yeah, yeah.
and then when I was 16, I was introduced to Islam through friends. I had
Yeah.
quite a fair few Muslim friends, and it just everything made sense to me, the likes of the 7 dimensions, because of being able to see the dimensions. And when I seen that about the 7 levels of heaven and hell, and I was like, wow, yeah, that
Yeah.
explains it
Yeah.
all. But I think for me, the idea of God being outside of me doesn't, I disagree with it.
Yeah.
So that was the reason why I sort of come away, and I wouldn't call myself a Muslim, I wouldn't call myself a follower of Islam, but I take knowledge, I take information, and I take a way of living. It's like a guide from the Bible, from the Kabbalah, from, you know, the Quran and different religious texts as well.
Also, you've took a bit from each one of them.
Accumulation of knowledge.
Is there any
from all.
similarities, or just
Yeah.
with Islam and Christianity? Is there any,
Yeah.
or is it because it's totally different? It's worlds apart.
I
The way
mean,
they act in the street, isn't it?
I think the Bible, the Quran, all your religious texts have all been doctored. All the good stuff has been taken out of it, and it's
Yeah.
been, you know, mixed up and stained with stuff that helps control us, basically.
I think what's going on is the elite have started they began hijacking the faiths.
Yeah.
And they have hijacked, the oldest ones have been hijacked the longest through the ages, but you got to look at what they've done. They are giving dogma, and they are changing the truth so that people cannot level up. They
Yeah.
want to take the true spiritual factors out of the faith and sugarcoat it with dogma
Yeah.
to get people to pit it against one another.
That's exactly it.
And that's keeping humanity divided. The true essence of all faiths, the way I understand it, is to gain the truth out of all of them. And they are all linked to each and every one of us that walks the earth, whether we are humans or whether, if you look at the kingdom of the animals, not every lion's the alpha or king of the jungle. Not every wolf is an alpha, going to be the leader. Same within humanity. But the thing is, the only way for any human being to really level up with all knowledge and to connect with God is to take on from all the faiths, because that's the only way to find the truth.
I agree.
What I learned is my date of birth, when I convert it to the ancient, all the calendar systems, wow.
Oh,
I've shown that to
numerology.
you as well,
Numerology
Dave.
is brilliant.
Not just numerology of the stars, because the numerology can be applied all across the board to all the calendar systems. However, the most beautiful thing I've discovered is about our spirit, what I was explaining earlier, the mind, body, and spirit, and then the soul, and then the 5 senses. The eyes is the window to your soul, but then you got the ears, the nose, the mouth, and then how you create life from your private genitals, right? You know, so when 2 spirits intertwine and become one, the life force, you create a supernova, the big bang within, which creates life.
Yeah.
That energy has to be safeguarded. This is like the power from God that every human's got. But if you don't protect it, you're letting darkness come in.
Yeah.
So you know, you feel that if you're making love to somebody which is not your true partner, you feel darkness coming as soon as you come. Everyone
very
knows
careful.
this feeling, because that good feeling straight away goes and you feel darkness. That's your light going out.
Do you know where you'll find other, you know, when you were saying about eyes being the window to the soul, you'll cause a lot more damage looking someone in the eye that you're not supposed to than you will have sex with them.
Yeah,
And a
you're
lot
right.
more.
You're
Because
bang
you've
on.
got a direct line to the soul.
Yep.
You've got to go through the sacral chakra to reach the soul, which is behind the solar plexus when
Yep.
we're having sexual intercourse. So it's an easier way to get in
Okay.
and a purer, faster way to get in.
So
as
spot
well.
on again. So I've talked about chakras. Not everyone realizes I've been called all sorts about, you know, my Muslim people call me a non-believer and
I'm
all
surprised,
sorts.
really, because I studied astrology under a Muslim. He was a Shia. A
Right.
Shia guy who practiced magic, who charted the stars.
Yeah, Shias
and
are
stuff
magic.
Like that. They are.
They are
They're
into
cast
magic.
as the darkest side of Islam.
Islam,
as well.
darkest they are, because you know, a lot of people don't know about where the origins of Shiaism started from. About 1,000 years ago, There was a guy called Hassan Sabah, and he was a magician, and these were the people who were actually, well, the term for them is the Khawarij in Arabic. They come from the sort of a bloodline of people who always caused bloodshed within the thing to divide. So they do the devil's work, and they have a lot of knowledge.
Oh, they do.
From very ancient times, because I think that these are the ancient sort of converted Zios.
It was Sufi magic that actually managed to break the contract in the end for a lot of people that I work with as well, depending on what entities they have as well. Sufi magic is super strong and super protective. It's cast as very dark.
It's light, isn't it?
But it's not. It's very light. Yeah.
Yeah, so
But
it's so what I've heard is about Sufism. So a lot of people say that you sound like a Sufi, but I'm not. I've never read anything from any scholars or any teachers.
Oh, have a look. You know, they're so interesting.
So they say that I sound like a Sufi, but I've had no education from any of them. I have my own mind. I know how it works.
Yeah.
I know how I connect with God myself. I know what the, alpha frequencies and alpha waves, how to get the alpha waves through your body.
Yeah.
You must know about that,
Of
when
course.
you meditate and you feel it within. Do you know what I mean? You're floating.
Well,
out
yeah,
of
but
space.
I actually meditate a lot differently to people. I do movement meditation.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
So
I've got
that's
ADHD, me, so I do find it quite hard to shut off. And I find movement, again, we're showing it through Sufi dance.
Yeah,
rituals
Sufi dance. Yeah.
is another way as well to
Yeah,
reach
spinning.
those
Yeah, because
frequencies.
you're you're right, because obviously you're spinning. You find balance the way the world is
Yes.
spinning and the cosmos
Sorry,
is
is
spinning.
that when you're just spinning around?
Spinning around, yeah.
They're like the whale and
Because I went to
dervishes.
Dubai and there was this fella, he was just spinning round
Yeah.
for about
He's on a God frequency.
5 minutes. Because I was like, oh, are you not dizzy? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he stops.
It does something to I call it the oyster bar in the ears.
Yeah.
But it does something with the energy behind there as well that opens up everything.
I'm going to say, because he was going full throttle with he was with a fire ring around him. And I was like, how is this man not dizzy here? Do you know what I mean? And obviously he just stops after this session, thanks everyone, and just fucks off. Do you know what I mean? Thought he was going to fall over. Thought he was just gone.
Just a little 5 minutes of enlightenment there.
Wow.
And then he's off, he's done.
So I'll let you just get back to it.
So they say that when you're walking and thinking through the park, you're smelling nature, everything, that's a form of meditation. That's the,
Oh, yeah.
It's good to be on your own, go through nature, go for quiet walk. It's good for the body, it's good for the heart, good for the whole bloodstream.
I believe nature
and it's
is the
good
true
for the
expression
mind,
of God as
especially,
well.
going through woods, smelling the trees, wet leaves, nature in itself, breathing and, breathing and exhaling,
And it
it's
strengthens
really good for
the
you.
power of the senses as well.
Yeah. So this is where it should start from before you even go
Yeah, it
into it
should,
deeper.
because if we look at all religions, we look at Buddhism, all different sects of spirituality, one of them fundamental laws is that nature is the true essence of, of God or the divine or divinity, whatever it is that you want to call it. Let's say you don't believe in a God. You will find the divine through nature before you'll find it through a person. You know what I mean?
So
Nature doesn't mask.
So there's a saying that I say, I'm sure, people I worked with, they've heard it. So I say normally that I believe in the positioning of the stars and the life force that sparks the beat of life in all things living. It's a powerful little phrase. I know it is, because when you think deep within it and meditate, ponder on it, you get kind of blown away, because you've got like the 4 elements, wind, water, earth, fire. Each element's got a whole world within it, a whole ecosystem inside the earth, above it. So you got to understand, us humans are we're water and earth, combined 73% water, the rest flesh. That's the same ratio of the globe itself, and we're made from that. But then the demonic entities, which I've shared with others, people again who I work with, that you have 70% wind and 30% fire, the opposite of humans.
That's in the
and that's
canon
the
as well.
balance. Now, so this is like quite amazing, because when Adam was created in his lifeless body, Satan saw the body and he thought, this is dirt, he's made of shit, earth, mud. I can go right through him, it's hollow. Do you know what I mean? So he's like, I'm not going to bow to this. I'm made of fire and wind. Why am I going to bow to shit? Because, what is, if you think about when we pass away, or what are left, excrement, cows, horses, that becomes fertilizer on the ground for the vegetation. So literally, he's not wrong in what he's doing. He's disrespecting humans for the way we're made, and he thinks he's superior, and he has to bow to Adam, submit to Adam. He didn't like it. But this is what I say to people, that people don't realize that God wants his submission, and this is what we're failing to recognize, because God commanded all of the heavens to submit to him, including the stars. And then there's a reference, even in the Bible, Quran, any religion you look at from the Abrahamic faiths, when Joseph had the dream and he said to his father, Israel, Jacob is Israel, right? He said to his father that, Father, I had a dream, all the planets are submitting to me with the sun and the moon. This is basically a sign of what in the beginning of time happened. And in the end of time with Jesus, when he comes, the heavens and all the star systems of all the religions will only submit to him.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, he doesn't even need to prove it to people, because science, in the end of time, all knowledge is on earth. He will be able to say that, look at any religion's calendar system is submitting to me. This is
Yeah,
my
it points to
identity,
this.
and this is who I am. It's up to you whether you believe or go the other way. But this is what the truth is. And now humanity needs to make a decision and come basically like under his, follow his
And it'll
his
be very
advice.
difficult when that day comes, because the Antichrist will be so very convincing and look so
Well,
very nice and kind and lovely. And
So he's going to have the power, though. The Antichrist and Jesus, they're messiahs. They both are.
They both are,
They
yes.
both are. So the power, it goes back to covenant of Noah, I believe, because Noah was made the covenant, the first covenant, that never again will God wipe out whole of humanity. But a time will come, and this rainbow is to remind you of that time.
Yeah.
That people will go back into the very reason why God flooded and wiped out humanity, the same sins you're going to be committing. But this time he's not going to wipe it out. You're going to have Jesus and you're going to have the Antichrist. Antichrist's purpose is to allow people freely to make a choice.
In 1 sec. Dave, you want to...
Yeah, no, I just wanted to sort of go a little bit, just interested in the secret societies or secret groups. You're allowed to talk about them, because I was actually part of a so-called secret society, secret group that done rituals, which was the Freemasons.
yeah,
It was ex-military. And I was very interested in it, and basically I just found it like sort of a group of old men. Like like the Boy Scouts for old men, really, but there's so much.
I mean, I think the Freemasons, they get a bad rap.
Yeah.
Really. But it all really stems from the Stargate that, is quite important to them, which is associated with the demonic called Baal. And that's where the bad rap comes from.
I've heard them called, I didn't really see, they have a Bible in there.
Yeah.
And you can have the Quran, depending, it's all religions. And I was just interested, because we always, Christians always told me that deep down it's satanic, it's the devil behind it. But you think most things are satanic when it comes right down to it. But I didn't see it on it, and I was quite in for a long time. But is there any other groups like that sort of in that, industry within, like, I don't know, the Illuminati? You heard about the Illuminati? I don't think they exist nowadays.
So have you heard of the Rothschilds building in London?
The what, sorry?
The Rothschilds building in London.
Oh, yeah.
No one can get in it.
Yeah.
Not allowed to get in. I've been in it.
Yeah.
It's for a ritual.
Was that when you were in the industry?
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that I was part of the Illuminati. I don't think the Illuminati exists in the way that we think it is. I think that's an image that's portrayed to keep us off the real track, you know what I mean? But, when you look into Hollywood, there's a high priestess. She's quite well known, I'm not going to name her. That all your local celebrities are pictured with. Again, if we look into my illness with the blood, I'm sure you've heard of the adrenochrome conspiracy. I think there's some truth in that, just because of what happened to me and my blood, and the fact that once I got a blood transfusion, all right, it's probably off an adult person, hasn't been under any stress. It would only last 24 hours. But these people obviously need to keep on top of them blood products when they're working with demonics. But I think as well, there are loads of different types of secret societies, whether they are Masons, whether they're strictly satanic. I mean, people are making them up as they go along these days. But I think they're all branches, and it doesn't matter what each of them believe. It all creates a triangle, and there's someone at the top that really is feeding down into these
It all comes
things.
back to, Satan, Satan, the devil.
Satan, the devil. Even then,
Most things in the this is meant to be his realm, isn't it? That we're sort of.
I agree. I think
It's a
we're
broken
in
world.
the hell realm now, where we are, just more so because if we look into numerology, 3 is the number of the criminal. Why is it that these beings can just manifest off their own power in this dimension if this isn't part of their realm as well?
Go back to did you say you were like invited into the group? Did you have to do an initiation into that group?
Basically, yeah. So I was handed, I was given a contract from a company, a modelling company, but they outsourced agents. And it was an agent that ended up getting me a job in Sao Paulo, in Brazil, for nappies, when at the very beginning of my career. And he said to me at some point in the hotel room after we'd done the shoot, he said, we've got an invite to an after party later on. And I was like, yeah, that's very normal part of that industry. You rub shoulders with people, you get to know people, you make contacts, you get work. And we went and I was introduced to a back room away from this club, big, huge club. And in this back room, there was an old man, well, 2 old men. No, like late 60s, old fella, very smartly dressed, foreign. Sounded either like Romanian, Polish, like Eastern European. Yeah. And he passed me an envelope over the table. Just said, we heard lots about you, it's lovely to meet you. The agent left the room, I opened the envelope and it was an invitation to a dinner party in a country house in Berkshire in London for, I think it was 3 months after that party. Now in that meeting that I had with this guy, not once did he say to me, welcome to the club, Molly, or well done for selling your soul, or anything like that. Nothing was ever said that I could go, yeah, I know you know. But all of these roundabout little comments that would be made, and there was a time when I did go to that dinner party.
But was you actually initiated? I mean, when I went in the Freemasons, I got initiated in. I was blindfolded, and obviously a lot of different things. And it was a long ceremony.
Yeah.
And it went on for about an hour.
Yeah.
Did you have to do anything like that when you went to that mansion?
I was stood in the middle of a satanic pentagram, an inverted pentagram that had an image of Baphomet's head. What are you going to show me?
I've actually got the pentagram on again.
Have you?
When I was doing
yeah,
the
there we
pagan
go.
stuff, yeah.
So that's your divine feminine energy, actually. That symbol, yeah.
But you want to sort of get covered up now because of...
No, don't get that covered up. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
Nothing at all.
Tell her about your dream, Dave.
I have.
Have you told her?
He has, yeah.
Oh, has he told her?
Yeah, psychic attack that. But yeah, when I was initiated, I was invited into the middle by an older fella. He had a black cloak on. Everyone in the group had a black cloak on except for me. I was invited into the middle. They were all singing in Latin. They were all walking around me, but they were sort of turning their backs to me as they got to my face. Does that mean? So they weren't looking me in the eye. As they were walking around this circle, they would turn their back. So my face...
Male and female?
Male and female, yeah. And then at some point, I was brought over like a ultraviolet coloured cloak, and that was placed over me. And then towards the end of it, there was a lot of chanting, a lot of this, a lot of that. I was cut behind my ear with a knife, with a blade, very tiny blade, like a Stanley knife blade, but it wasn't on a Stanley knife, it was just a blade in his hands.
Oh, that was
Nicked
a blood
behind
sacrifice.
Blood all over me because it was pouring with blood, and he took a drop of blood for each point on the pentagram, and at the end of it, they tied the belt round this cloak into a knot and said, this can never be unbroken. And that was my initiation.
And did you feel scared at that point?
No. Do you know what it was? I think for me, what made me do it was I was desperate. I was a single parent. I had 2 very small children. My youngest was only 3 months old. And it was like, I don't want to give my kids a life where they've got nothing, because we, very low working class backgrounds. And I thought, I can work myself to death and still probably not be able to give these kids a good lifestyle. So what can I do? Yeah. And it got to the point where I was that desperate. I thought, well, you know what? I'll do what I can do, and I'll sell my soul. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, at least I can say I tried. But even when I went into it, I just wanted money.
Well, that's a big driving force with everyone, money, isn't it? And
Well,
people
yeah.
sell their soul.
I could have been a
You
bit
know.
more specific. I could have
Yeah.
said, you know, I want to be a celebrity. I want to be famous. I didn't ask to be a model. It was just that's how it came about. I was invited to a shoot. One thing led to another, and then before I never am initiated into this place.
And was it just the one ceremony, or did they have regular ceremonies?
No, we went more or less monthly.
Yeah.
Just depended on when they give you the envelope
Yeah.
with an invitation to it.
Is there any of
Really?
these ceremonies in Liverpool?
Yeah.
I'm not, is specific hotel? Is it one in a hotel?
Do you know about it?
I've heard
You've
about
heard stories.
I've heard about it, yeah. And
Yeah,
it's,
that wasn't the sect that I was in,
no, I've heard
but
about
it's a
that one.
related sect to the one that I was in.
And a paedophile ring involved in that hotel one. Is that true or not? Yeah, I've
Very
heard about.
true, very true.
So that is true, that, and that's a lot of local. I don't know if you want to cut it out. I'm not that fussed. That's a lot of local, big names in the city involved in
So
that.
I've got an issue with them at the moment. So
Yeah.
I helped. I had a client come to me whose brother-in-law had been involved with them. He was in there. He was dead. But the cult, as she calls it, was still absolutely harassing this woman, turning up at her house and staring through the window dressed all in black and sending her emails, all kinds of psychic attacks and stuff like that. But it was that group
Yeah.
that you're talking about. And obviously once I removed what she had on her, the black magic and stuff like that, I come home one day, didn't I? And I had these finches, zebra finches. And when I say the cage was crushed totally flat, the birds were nowhere to be seen in my house, not a feather. There's bird seeds everywhere, but not a feather. They'd sent a psychic attack. And, you know, they killed my birds. Still never found the bodies, but I went upstairs and I looked on in my room to see if the birds had flew in there. And there was just these two perfectly placed feet on both of my pillows, still with the rings round their legs and the tiny zebra finches. So it could never have happened naturally. And they were placed, stood up, these 2 feet on each pillow as if a warning. You know what I mean?
So these people are quite powerful, aren't they?
No, the people aren't.
The people
things
aren't.
that they
things
conjure
stuff
are very
over.
powerful.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
I was going to ask you, you know, in this dark magic, why do the demons always want people to go through sodomy, like for the magic rituals, like, you know, like
Anything that
men and women?
opposes
Like,
God's law.
Oh, okay.
Anything.
So basically
Any
going into
interpretation.
such a severe degree of sin where there's no
There's
return.
no coming back.
Right. Okay. So basically, that's what the devil wants. So
Yeah.
that's why he makes humans
But what
do
we have to
such
remember
actions.
as well is the demonics can't feed off your high vibrational emotions.
So they have
They
to get
have to,
more.
yeah.
So they want to get all your light out.
And even if they can't
All your
pull
light.
it, if they
Was it the
can't pull
life
from
force? The
you-
light of
yeah,
the life force. They
life
want
force
you
energy.
to get all the bliss out, so you're full of darkness.
Literally.
But the thing is,
And if they can't get it through
what I don't
you,
understand
they'll
is
get it off someone else.
what
through
I
you.
don't understand is that if you're going to sell your soul to the devil and become his little slave, his little Joey, you're going to basically bless it. He's going to bless you with wealth and whatever stardom, right? What I don't understand is then why is he making these individuals do such a thing, which is going to make them inferior human beings out in the world? Like, I don't get that, because aren't you supposed to be in the best version of yourself
Yeah,
to
but
be
how is
the
he going to
best?
control you?
Right.
When that power
right.
goes to your head and you go, oh, yeah, you give me everything that I want, I'm going to go back to God because God's all forgiven. Yeah. And the devil goes, oh, yeah, what about all this stuff that I can blackmail you with?
Do you get targeted? Do you get targeted
so I
on the
see
daily?
that.
Sorry, do you get targeted on a daily basis online for your past of these people who was involved?
Not really so much for me past. I mean, no one really says much. What they say is that I am dark now,
Yeah.
that I must be working with demonics to be able to do what I can do. Really, no one really. I get terror for my teeth more than anything.
I don't think you're dark. For you to come here to talk about it, not just about your experience, personal, but I don't think you've got that darkness. There's light in you for coming out and giving the truth.
Absolutely. Anyone
You're
who was
fighting
doing that
against
stuff would not go in
against
the public
darkness
eye.
to give knowledge to the world.
That Aleister Crowley, do you know about him? That was like a bit of sort of incesting. The ceremony he done up in Loch Ness in the house. I wanted to go to Beleskin House. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
And he done the ceremony and went on the continent. And left the ceremony open and it was to meet his guardian angel. And the house became dark, and he knew he'd been getting visited because he'd put sand around, and he could see the footprints of the demon. Well, in the end, so he goes to help a friend and never closed the ceremony, and that's where all these sightings of the Loch Ness Monster, do you reckon, had a connection with, you know? I sort of got interested in him because he was trying to create a new religion, you know?
Yeah. I don't think that much of him.
Yeah.
I think a lot of stuff that he said isn't actually true because I've tried it and I've practiced it and it doesn't work.
He became a cult figure as well. He's
Well,
on the
this
Beatles
is it.
album, and Led Zeppelin, then years later when they got into the black magic, they actually bought that house, Boleskine House. Jimmy Page owned it.
Did
And
they? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they reckon all they, you know, Jimmy Page and Tom Palmer sold the soul to the devil
Oh, they all did?
for the guitars and,
Yeah.
you know, the way they could play and that, like, you know.
A lot of people do say that music is the devil. I disagree. I'd imagine you would disagree as well.
Maybe that's something they should have asked to
Say heavy metal music.
I think it comes down to the words and the energy within, because there's frequency. Everything has frequency. If you look at the first thing, it's breath. Inhale, exhale, and then you've got the word. The word itself, every alphabet has a unique sound, each alphabet has a unique vibrational frequency, and within it, it's got not just a numerical value, but each alphabet is either attached to wind, water, earth, fire, one of the elements as well. So when you understand this, you're like, wow. Because then when you put the spellings of each alphabet together to create a word, that word has an energy and meaning and a frequency. And on all across the languages, if you go to the ancient languages, the Semitic languages, the sound comes from your gut, your chest, your throat, your nose. The energy actually triggers off all your organs from within, which is the chakras, where the power is amplified compared to the English language. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Because it reads right to left. It's an ancient language, and God has chosen these languages for a reason, for enchanting either light energy or dark energy. You can, you know, put that together by the phrases that you enchant.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Can I ask you again, sorry, about all was it the secret ceremony stuff, Ben? The secret ceremony stuff, who's sort of in charge of them and the...
So, you know the fella that I spoke about in the beginning, that I was introduced to in that back room in the club, he was at every one, never participated like that. But I imagine he was the head. I don't know for definite who was the head of them. But he was there every single time.
Have any of these people approached you since you've got out of it all?
Yeah. I get stalked, I've been ran off the road, I've been poisoned. Even now, they always look a certain way. They always dress a certain way, very, very smart. They always look out of place. Like, I had one of my other mates with me, and we were in town in the Georgian Quarter. I was going to do a house clear, and then there was a fella waiting on the corner where I parked my car, and he walked from behind my car, looked through my window, looked at me, and then kept walking. And I said to my mate, I said, that's him. That's one of them.
So they're just intimidating, aren't you? They're intimidating you, aren't they,
they
really?
don't want me to talk about stuff. Like, when I first started putting my story on Instagram, it'd get deleted within 24 hours. Everything would go missing. Wouldn't matter how many times I re-recorded it. It'd never get seen. But I think now, because I've got a bigger following, there's not much they can do about it. You know, they can't make me go missing. Because everyone will go, well, she's being held off by the club. You know what I mean? Because they know about it. But I think they're more cautious that I don't reveal names, because there are times where names have slipped out on a video before today, and I've had a lot more flack off them.
You've had friends who've went missing, haven't they? Are their families aware of what they were involved in, or...?
Yeah, so one I spoke about on my Sunday scriptures on one of the last episodes was a girl called Sophie. Now, her dad was a big Freemason, but he was into other stuff with the Freemasons as well. And Sophie was horrifically abused under satanic ritual abuse. And I met her when I come out of that club, and I was a blood nurse. I was working as a blood nurse for the NHS in Bootle, and she came into one of my clinics, and I noticed something straight away about her. I could see in the auric field she had an attachment, and I was told she was in danger. And I ended up a couple of months later bumping into her in a spiritualist church, and again, it took a couple of months, but either way, she more or less told me what she'd been through, and she ended up going to, I think it was Italy. She had a foreign boyfriend that she'd met at university. And I was sent to Peyton about 6 months after she went abroad, didn't hear from her. She sent me an email now and again, but it didn't really hear much. And I was sent a very graphic painting of Jesus on the cross. It was seriously graphic, and the signature on the back looked like hers. And I was like, what? I've not ordered that. Like, it come in a sign for envelope with my address on it, my name. And I sent an email and a picture and said, did you send this? Never heard anything back. And then some fella come in and was telling me about this girl, his granddaughter, that he hadn't seen for 3 years, and she'd gone abroad with a boyfriend and she'd disappeared, and her name was Sophie. And I was like, what are the chances? That can't be a coincidence. And I asked him a few more questions, and I told him about this girl that I'd known, and she'd gone to Italy, and her dad was involved in satanic ritual abuse, and he lost his shit. Absolutely lost his shit, and said that I knew stuff about her and this, that and the other. I knew where she was getting hidden.
Accusing you?
He basically thought that I had information on her, but wouldn't give it to him for him to say that, because he knew something was off. But Sophie's never been seen or heard from.
And does it just go unnoticed by the police and all that? Did it, or?
I don't know. I think a lot of police are involved in it. I know that. Higher up.
Yeah.
We're not talking your average bobbies on the streets,
No.
but your higher ups in there are all aware of it.
I,
The paperwork goes missing, the evidence goes missing.
My mate got in touch with me ages ago when he said, I'm going to join the Freemasons. So he went, join with me. So I went, go ahead, whatever.
It's a very beneficial club to be in.
So I phoned them anyway. I didn't join. I phoned them. You get talking on the phone and he asked where I'm from. So I was like, I'm from Kirkdale originally. So the fella goes, oh, so am I. So I went, oh, hi, yeah, what street? He says, Pansy Street. That's only there. That's the street where I grew up. Well, he says his name, and 20 odd years, it was a very close community, this, you know, everyone knew each other. And so he says his name, and I was like, I've never heard that name mentioned off my mum, because my nan and granddad lived in that street. I've never heard this name mentioned and all that. So I was like, oh, right, blah, blah. I was just thought, he said a few things to me on the phone. I thought, that's a bit too close to home already. Yeah. We've only had a phone call with each other. And he's mentioned the street where he grew up and the area where I'm from. So obviously I never joined, you know what I mean? I got a bit worried, like.
Did that make you feel a bit weird?
Yeah, it felt like, you know, how close someone can get to you without you even knowing it. And but even knowing who the person is. I didn't know who this man was, you know what I mean? So I got back in touch.
I don't think a lot of people would think like that, though. I think a lot of people would go, oh, great, we've got things in common.
No, I mean, I weren't like that. Like, and I just said, look, it's not for me. I can't commit with work, because he was saying to me, I don't know if it was you, he said, I had to put them before everything. Yeah. I had to pay. I don't know what you, Dave. I had to pay for the first few times they went out and just stuff like that. And I was like, this isn't for me.
You always put your family and your work first.
Oh, this fellow was the other way around, you know what I mean? But aside from that, you did fear, as well. For your kids, you know, with you being targeted, and you know, people could get to you through them or anything like that. Yeah. And also,
I mean, one of the emails that I received was the date, the time, places, pictures that had been with my kids. It wasn't when I'd had my daughters, it's when I just had my 2 boys and they were only young. But like, there was pictures of me putting a car seat in the car that were just sent by email to me and stuff like that. They didn't threaten me through the kids or use the kids as a threat, but they didn't have to by doing that.
That's like psychological warfare a bit, isn't it?
Oh,
I mean, that they're just they're terrorising you in a way.
Yeah, pretty much. And I did, to be fair, I did nearly lose my head with it. I was very paranoid. You know, I've got PTSD from it now, because, you know, one of these days I will come face to face with them. Do I think they'll do anything now? Probably not, because I make too much noise. Yeah. Which is the reason why I do. You know what I mean? But I think, you know, you have got to be very, very careful to keep your strength.
Would you teach your kids as well? Would you teach your kids?
Don't need to teach them, they know it.
Oh, they know it all,
Know it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I suppose they were only they've all got autism, my kids. I mean, they're very highly academic and stuff like that. They're on the more Asperger's end of the spectrum than the other. But I suppose I kept it quite quiet. They knew I read tarot. And if they asked me what my job was, I'd just say, I'm a psychic. Because they could go into school and say, well, my mum's a psychic, and not look too odd, you know what I mean? But obviously I started doing workshops and teaching. And teachers from the kids' school ended up coming by chance.
Oh, were they okay with that, yeah?
They were all right with it, yeah. And then the more they learned about what to do with the exorcisms and stuff like that, I suppose that's the bit that I wanted to keep quiet, because people will look at you and go, what? You know what I mean? Are you the next Erica Cora? Like, what's going on there? But you'd be surprised how open people are to it and how many people have had these experiences with these things as well. It's a lot more common than people think.
And do you ever get frightened?
By which?
Well, the supernatural,
No.
the unknown, you know, I mean, you're dealing with these things on a weekly, daily basis. Is there anything that's
on a
ever
daily
really
basis.
frightened you?
There's one that nearly, it could have killed my daughter when she was young. So I'd had someone that I'd known for many, many years, and he began a spiritual path, and he was a bit of a DJ, runs a meme page, and, you know, he's just a lad, normal lad, Scouse lad. And he says, I want to do some DMT, but I don't want to do it on my own. Would you sit with me? And I was like, yeah, if you want, fine. I mean, I've done DMT once, thought it was brilliant, excellent, it's 10 minutes and it'll be over. It's not like mushrooms, you know what I mean? Yeah. Fine. Yeah. So he comes and he's sat on the couch, and I've got my notebook and I'm writing down the things that he's talking to me about, the things that he's seeing. And out of nowhere he says, oh, I'm in Las Vegas. And I went, oh, fuck. You've gone to the demonic realm, you know what I mean? You've gone below. And he said, there's these clowns here, they know you. And I was like, do they? What did they say? And what did they know about me? He went, I don't know, but they've asked me to get in this box. I said, do not get in that box. If you get in that box, there's no coming back. And he went, I know I'm not supposed to, but I think I'm going to. And then he sat bolt upright. Now, this lad's out on the DMT, sits up, bolt upright. And I'm sat to his right, and he turns in his chair and looks me right through with these black eyes, and then just collapses back onto the couch. And I was like, oh shit, he's possessed. I knew what was coming, really. And he wakes up out of it, and I said, look, I'm going to have to clear you. You will have come back with something. You don't like sounds of this one. I'll have to clear you. You brought something with you. And as I put my hands on his to feed through his energy, this thing that was manifesting that I could feel disappears. And I was like, oh, has this been done willingly before you've come? You've set an intention the way you wanted to go, and you want to work with this thing, don't you? So I thought, there's nothing I can do about that. I can't remove it because it's not my jurisdiction to do that if he's worked with it willingly. So he's fine, and I'm like, I've done what I can for you. I said, but there is something with you. And he thinks you want to work with it. And he was like, yeah, I do. And I was like, okay, well, this is the dangers, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, a couple of hours passed, and there's a knock on my door, and it's a delivery fella with a chippy. And he's ordered himself a chippy to my house. Did not ask me, do you want anything, or anything like that. So he's there, and he's eating the dinner. He went, do you want a chip? And I went, no, I'm all right, sir. I'm thinking, you better get out my house now, because there's something's amiss. You're turning, you know what I mean? You're getting further into possession.
So he had something attached to him then?
It was going into full-blown possession. And then as he walks out the door, he gives me this look. He rang a taxi. And his eyes were clear. They went blue again. And I was thinking, oh, what's going on there? Because if a demonic wants to hide, it'll shift behind the soul so that the eyes stay normal. If it comes in front of the soul or in the forefront of the auric field, the eyes will go black. So I'm thinking, that's weird. It's hidden itself inside him. Goes to bed as normal, and my daughter sleeps in the bed with me. She was only about 9 months old, not even that. I'm lying in bed, and something grabs me by the foot and shakes me awake violently, and I sit up in a panic, couldn't breathe, couldn't get my breath. And I hears in my ear, turn around. And I turns around and I looks up on the wall above my bed. I've got these huge concrete wings that the size of them lights. Massive they are. All fastened into the wall properly. I'd had a fella out to screw them in properly. Not good at DIY. So I know they were done properly, and one of these wings comes off the wall towards me, hovers in the air, and then slowly goes down above my daughter like that on the wall. So I grabs my daughter by the ankles and pulls her up the other end of the bed where I am before it smashes into pieces on my mattress. So I jumps up, and picks the baby up and puts her in her cot in her room, comes back into my bedroom, and the other concrete wing smashes on the floor, but next to the bed. So they're all in pieces, and now I've only got like a metre square hall, and I've walked out there, and there's a mirror at the top of the stairs, and I've got blood pouring down my face, and I'm like, oh fuck, oh shit, oh no, and I was badly bleeding. I've still got a scar on my lip off here. And it goes downstairs, and I've got a big box of different types of tarot cards. Every single one's been thrown onto the floor from the top of the cupboard. The only one that's upright is the devil cards. No. And I'm panicking. I'm thinking, do I do it upstairs? Do I leave the kids alone upstairs? Is it going to attack the kids while I'm down here? I've got to get a pentagram out. I've got to get my shit together and pull myself together in order for me to be able to remove it.
And as I am, all these red marks are coming up where it's battering me and attacking me. Burns, they look like big cigar burns on my arm where it got hold of me. I had thumb marks on my wrists. And as I'm doing this ritual, and I finally get it in the pentagram to put it back in the second dimension, these big welts appears on my wrist and on my feet like the crucifixion of Jesus. And them scars stayed there for about 3 months. That was one that really did panic me because I didn't know what to do. I wasn't bothered about me, but I was like, is that going to attack my kids now that I'm down here trying to draw the pentagram?
Situations, you know, like, I mean, I feel sensitive to things that I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't open up to it. Is there ever a time when you think, I've had enough of this shit? I want to be, nobody's normal, but I want to live a more normal life.
I've never had a normal life, ever.
Well, what is a normal life, I suppose?
Yeah,
you know,
what is a normal life? And I think as well, I mean, I was, especially towards the end of this demonic contract, once I knew that contract was done, I could still hear the demonic realm, and I was still desperate for peace, desperate for a bit of quiet in my brain. And I think I would never ever want someone to be as desperate for help as I was, and have no one to turn to be scammed out of thousands of pounds, to nearly die in a hospital, when such a simple ritual can help them, fix them, and put them back on a path of light, back on a path of health, to peace.
There's a lot of fakes out there. The spirituality is booming. There's crystal shops everywhere, isn't it?
It's an industry designed to make people consume just like every other industry in the world. There's a lot of misinformation that spreads. There's a lot of frauds, a lot of fakes. Like, you see people now, there's not many psychics that have got great reviews. It's all hit and miss. And to me, it's all pattern recognition as well. But again, I disagree with that side of mediumship. I think it's entertainment. If someone comes to me and says, I want you to contact me dead nan, and I'll say to them, well, so once I contact your dead nan, and you know she's in spirit and she's looking after you and she's proud of you, then what? When your life turns to shit, is that going to help you? And it makes people think, and they go, oh yeah, but I just want to know, It's all right, I'll give you that confirmation. You know, I'll tell them something that only their nan could know, or whatever like that. And I think, but has that really changed your life? What has that done for you? You know your nan's passed over, but none of them go and find God. None of them go on a path of spirituality. It's just, I think it's an egotistical confirmation that they want.
So just talking about that and where people go, probably give them a bit of satisfaction knowing that they are
there is
somewhere.
An afterlife.
But what's your thoughts on heaven?
I believe there is what the Bible will call a heavenly realm, which is the 5th dimension, which is just where our souls return to true form. When we lose the human meat suit, we return to the true soul form, which would be the 5th dimension. The 4th dimension is where your spirit guides reside. It's where your ascended masters and archangels are, because they're closer to humanity, so they can help better there. But I do believe there is a heaven. I just call it a dimension rather than heaven.
And you know that there's a hell?
We're living in it, love.
It's a good answer.
But you can tell. There's so much shit here.
I see it all the time.
There's the toxicity that's here, you know. I think they say there's a war between light and dark, and that light is winning. I disagree.
Is it a spiritual war going on? Well, it
But
says in the Bible there's a spiritual war going on.
Yeah.
Spiritual warfare, yeah.
And we're actually in the end, coming into the end times, as it says in the Bible.
I agree.
I sort of believe that.
Yeah, 100%, because it's just
believe
getting
this
worse
again,
and worse, society, isn't it? But I don't think
we're
any side will ever
we're
win,
actually
because
going
one
through
can't
it
exist
through
without
the
the other.
notions off of it at the time.
I suppose so, yeah.
You know what I mean? We haven't got a yin
the
and yang
marks.
symbol for no reason.
True.
One will not be without the other.
You come in here today, didn't you? And as soon as you come in, you said to me that this used to be like a little boys thingy. So you noticed something in here. I told you, obviously it's haunted like mad in here, but you noticed something even before.
Yeah, so I was sat in the car, and there's a little window. Like, I don't know whether there's an entry there, but it's where the shutters are, on the left-hand side of the street. And I see a little girl in a white dress, blonde hair, staring out the window at me. And I said to you, didn't I? I said, look in the window there, there's a little girl. And she's going, no, I can't, I'm too scared.
I know what you mean. That's the staircase.
Yeah.
That's there, yeah. And
But when you walk in as well, like, you can see the auric fields on a building. All cars have it, your houses have it, your possessions have it if you love them enough.
yeah.
And the auric field's got a green tinge on the outside of it, which indicates spirits are trapped.
Yeah, there's a lot in this building. Like I told you before, I've heard some stuff in here. But before we wrap it up, is there anything you want to say to people who follow you and all that?
Not so much the people that follow me, but I just ask people to be open, really, and listen with an open mind, because, you know, a lot of people will not understand this and will find it really difficult to perceive correctly. And I say, until it happens to you, you probably won't understand it, because it is a phenomena. It is a supernatural phenomena. But I just ask people, one, to listen with, you know, an open mind and an open heart, and two, to realise that the more you talk about this, you will realise that it's a lot more common, that a lot of people have had these experiences, and there is a solution.
And for anyone going to join in the industry, what would you say to them?
Don't. Don't work with demonics. It's a big thing now. You look at TikTok, you look at Instagram, social media. There's all kinds of witches, there's all kinds of spiritual people saying, do this ritual, do that spell. 99.9% of them are all black magic. Be careful, question everything, cogitate, use what you were given, you know what I mean? Question everything, do not follow a crowd. Go with your gut, because it will never lead you wrong.
Right, we've been Randomania.
Amazing.
That's been Molly Simpson.
Thank you for having me.